was very confident, and we saw the Hello Leroy back on webcam. But now it is time for Toastmonster versus Boarcontrol. Now both of these players are 2-0 in the Premiership, so the winner will move on to the groups, to the playoffs. They will actually make it to the live final, so this is a big game. Let's see what classes they are bringing to the table, the metaphorical Hearthstone table. Warlock, Paladin, and Druid for Toastmonster, and Druid, Paladin, and Priest for Boarcontrol. Both rogues banned away.
Wow. I mean, this is going from Boarcontrol, the line that I was expecting. If you bring Paladin or Zoo and you ban Rogue, because both of those decks, you know, it's been the strategy we've seen multiple times throughout tonight. They suck against Rogue, so you ban it away and give yourself a nice matchup against the slower decks. But going even more heavily all in on that is Toastmonster, not even bringing Priest, and instead going for what I would imagine is Zoo and Murloc Paladin, just really trying to hard target, I guess, the Jade Druid and Kazakus Priest that Boarcontrol probably is bringing, both of which.
Now, this, I feel, is important for Boarcontrol to solidify himself as one of the best players in the UK. We've seen George C fall in the Premiership so far. At 1-0, we were thinking, okay, George C is probably going to walk through this Premiership.
Yep.
Now he's at 1-2. This is a good chance for Boarcontrol to say, actually, people should be the limelight should be on me here. It shouldn't be on the players like George C. It should be on myself. I'm a previous champion of the ESL Premiership. Bear in mind, he did not make it to the finals last season, which was a massive disappointment for him. Do you think he has what it takes to not just to make live finals, but potentially to be up there as maybe even a winner this season?
Absolutely. There's just not even a doubt in my mind that he's got what it takes, because beforehand, you know, he was a very strong player, but he was at university. He had to divide his time up between studying and between Hearthstone. But now that he's finished with uni, you know, players coming into his chat will ask him, why are you still playing? Points don't matter this month. And he's just like, this is what I do now. This is my job, so I'm going to keep playing Hearthstone no matter what. As we have a celebrity among us.
I don't actually know if this is legal for someone else to be playing the game for you, but it looks like Disguised Toast is now here. Great to see Toastmonster also getting in the Halloween festivities. Boarcontrol, though, serious. None of that.
Yeah.
Not getting involved.
I've had my toast. It's 9 PM, for God's sake.
For goodness sake. Well, will we see Boarcontrol move on to the live finals, or will we see Toastmonster, a.k.a. Disguised Toast? I'm not going to get over that. That's absolutely...
It's such a good costume.
If that doesn't make Reddit, then I don't know what will. So Boarcontrol playing his Druid here, and we are going to see the Murloc Paladin, as you rightly predicted, Darok. It's almost like you're paid to analyse this game.
Almost like.
Yeah, almost.
Almost like.
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. At least you're paid. I just have to turn up and dress up as silly things and get taken advantage of. Not in that way. Don't you... No. Look at me like that. Filthy old man. Young boy. Young girl. Whatever you are. I don't know what you are anymore. But nice that we have some ramp for... I say we. Boarcontrol has ramp in World Growth early. You can follow that with a Jade Spirit. But for Toastmonster, and I'm going to say monster rather than the Muncher. Otherwise, if we say it, the bell goes. All right, Darok? That's the rule we're going to say.
I'm not going to be able to focus on anything else throughout this game. As just I break into a sweat every time I have to say the player's name.
But he's gone for the Inquisitor rather than the chum into Inquisitor, and the reason why, he has a coin, so he could coin out Rallying Blade, for example, next turn if you would like. Yeah,
and you know, you just don't want to give your opponent a really nice value trade with the Jade Golem. You can just deny them basically all the value by taking a fantastic value trade. And now with the Hydrologist coming out on curve as well, it's not obviously the best 2-drop to be playing. You'd much rather be going for the Rockpool Hunter, but just to get something to throw down on the board and save that coin most likely for Scalebane instead of going for coin into Rallying Blade feels much more powerful here.
Now, Toastmonster just rubbing his toasty chin.
Thinking.
Yeah, thinking face. I love how he's turning himself as well. Also, I'm interested to see how long Toastmonster manages to keep this costume on, because we had early costume from Cold Hands that went out first game
window.
Straight away, 30 seconds in, gone. Hello Leroy wears a hat, first game gone. Toastmonster, I want to see it for the whole series.
I want him to commit.
I want him to commit to the toast monstering. Munching.
Yeah, I mean, as just, you know, given that he's dressed up as Toast, he's looking a bit to be spread a bit thin already, I would say. Wow, that pun took a lot out of me, huh?
I enjoyed it, though. I enjoyed it thoroughly. The top deck of the Rockpool... the top deck of the Rockpool Hunter does mean that he can play Grimscale Chum here and the Rockpool Hunter, so perfect timing for the Murloc to arrive. You alright?
Yeah, I just ate some of my fake blood by accident.
It tastes good?
No.
Shame.
But yeah, you know, this is exactly what the Murloc Paladin is trying to do right now. It's getting all the cards in the right order. You're getting your early cards early on. So cards like Bone Mare, Tyrion, Tarim, Curator will all hopefully be found, if not on curve, at least in a timely fashion. But they're going to have to be found pretty timely indeed, because for Boarcontrol, with the Nourish picked up now, he can go up to 8 mana on the following turn, and then he's so close to getting that ultimate infestation very quickly. It's just a shame for him that both of these Mark of the Lotuses are actually pretty dreadful.
Nourish here, I mean, it does allow you to ramp up. You get closer to the UI, but yeah, I don't like it. Do you know what I'm also worried about?
What?
If Disguised Toast has... that I'm terrified of, yeah. If Disguised Toast has some form of copyright on this mask, but he doesn't wear it much anymore, so maybe it's time it moves on to someone who quite rightly should be wearing it.
I'm glad he doesn't. I think the real Disguised Toast is a very good-looking man. He's got a very nice face.
All right, Kappa Pride in the chat. As, of course, the only option was to Nourish there. And he's going to Nourish for ramp. There was a possibility of him nourishing and using... I know they call me crazy, Darrock.
You're crazy.
Okay. Could have played both of the Mark Lotuses, or even just one, just to try and get more of a trade, but... Yeah, I didn't like it.
I liked, you know, considering, because of the fact that you're not directly ramping into Ultimate Infestation, Boarcontrol didn't have to go for the Nourish on that particular turn. He was taking his time and thinking maybe 1 or 2 of Mark of the Lotuses in combination with the hero power is what I want to be doing to make sure I'm not falling too far behind on the board. But I think, you know, using all your mana here and allowing you to get fantastic top decks pretty much no matter what you get off the top is probably the better way to go, because now things like Aya, Jade Behemoth, Malfurion, Medivh, if that's in the deck, just becomes so much more powerful off the top.
So Toastmonster really in the driving seat at the moment, and the Scalebane plus Redemption, just the Scalebane, sorry, is going to be really difficult for Boarcontrol to contest. He needs to draw something pretty significant pretty soon. I guess that's quite significant. I mean, that allows him to Ultimate Infestation a turn earlier.
It kind of is, but it's so slow. I mean, there's literally nothing else you can do. You just Wild Growth, and then the only consideration is where you put the hero power, but you'd just be taking too much damage. You send that to face as well. There's only one play here. It's just... he's dumping cards out of his hand, I guess, is what he's considering, but even then, you're definitely not going to run out of time. Okay, he's memeing here.
Just a little bit of a meme. Yeah. I liked that you were commentating on his memeing.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be happy with it.
This is how much I respect him as a player. Yeah. Even when he was wild growthing, going for Mark of the Lotus on literally nothing, I was considering the merits of it.
Yeah. I mean, when you were like, oh, maybe he's just getting rid of cards, I was like, yeah, but he doesn't need to. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on Barb.
You big idiot, Barb. Yeah. This is why you got caught up in the upside down.
Oh, spoilers. So finally the Ultimate Infestation can come down from Boarcontrol, even though it's still pretty early. It's on turn, what, 5, 6?
Oh, man.
It still doesn't seem early enough.
It's true. He was going first, so turn 6, I guess. But yeah, like you said, absolutely ridiculous. But now, unless he's dead on the following turn, which he is.
Which he is.
Yeah, what do you know?
What do you know? And he's going to do it in the nice fashionable way, using the Rallying Blade and the Murloc War Leader, rather just than the simple, true Silver Champion way.
Very hip.
Yeah, like almost something that a Toast who was disguised would do.
Classic disguised Toast thing to do.
Classic. But Toastmonster goes 1-0 up. We'll remind you once again that the winner of this series will be 3-0 and will qualify for the live finals. They will join the likes of Deathsea in the live finals, and what quite a fitting name to join here on Halloween. Deathsea, he'll be happy, won't he, in the live finals? Especially, this is the first time he's qualified for ESL Premiership, if I am correct.
I think so.
I think I am correct. I know he came in and he casted a day of Premiership finals 2 seasons ago, but now he is going to be on the big stage. And will he be competing against Toastmonster? Or will he be competing against Boarcontrol?
I mean, the way it's looking for the moment, it's starting to me at least, to look like Toastmonster is going to be pulling ahead. The fact that he's got the Paladin out of the way, the Druid is still there, the Warlock with what is most likely a Zoo. Pretty good matchup against pretty much all the decks left for Boarcontrol. And here we can see it's actually an aggro Druid, not even a Jade Druid. So Toastmonster really just getting him with this series.
Yeah, and I wonder whether this Jade Druid is going to let down another player in the Premiership here. We saw that it was the downfall of Dan SWF. Is it going to be the same for Boarcontrol? Or can he find that early ramp that he really needs? Wow. That's an interesting mulligan.
That is a very interesting mulligan. And this is a Jade Druid mulligan. He's not expecting aggro clearly here, which is why he just says, why? Oh God, why me?
It's nice being able to lip read.
Yeah.
As Boarcontrol just said, why is this aggro Druid? And what a good read it is from Toastmonster.
Yeah.
We were talking about Hello Leroy and being able
Such
to read his
punish.
opponents. And this is going to be really difficult now, especially after that mulligan from Boarcontrol. Thankfully, he did pick up a Wrath after he tossed away a couple of cards, so it does allow him to answer something threatening on the board, albeit a Vicious Fledgling or something that's buffed up from the Mark of Yasharaj. But it looks like he's just going to look for answers.
Oh, man. And this is a questionable play because, as you said, Vicious Fledgling is so bad for you here. Something buffed up by Mark of Yasharaj. I don't know, like the Wrath could have been really good. And you have a game plan for the moment of going Jade Blossom, Nourish, Ultimate Infestation. But I guess he's thinking that is just too slow. I will lose if I go for that. I have to find either the Death Knight or the Spreading Plague on curve or I'm losing.
And Mark of Yasharaj instantly snapped onto that Fledgling, and he's going to play Penguin plus Mark of the Lotus. Oh my God, what a filthy board this is. Wind Fury would all put the nail in the coffin here for this game. There it is. You sound a little bit French when you laugh then, I must point out. Ah, the Wind Fury!
Oh, le Penguin!
But there's the answer. The Spreading Plague right on time for Boarcontrol. Unfortunately for him, Toastmonster can get through two of them very comfortably. Thumbs down. Toastmonster, he's not very happy about it.
I think I've actually shredded my voice from literally just saying Le Penguin in that voice.
Sometimes it's a bad idea to do French accents. This apparently was one of them. Have a sip of water, get your composure, get back in the game. All right, Darok?
A little bit of Le Agua, as the French would say.
So one Spreading Plague was not enough. And the prediction of another Jade Druid coming out from Toastmonster in comparison to Boarcontrol's was incorrect. And now we have a very quick 2-0 lead for the man himself, Toastmonster.
Toastmonster. That was just... It was obviously a misread from Boarcontrol in that he was expecting Jade Druid or Big Druid, but it wasn't necessarily ridiculous to assume that it would be Jade Druid or Big Druid at all. You know, there have been... Boarcontrol's lineup is very similar to Toastmonster's if the Druid from Toastmonster were a Jade Druid instead. You very often see Jade Druid and Kazakus Priest with a couple of aggressive decks thrown in there in the form of Rogue with Murloc Paladin or Zoo. And so I think it was a fine read from Boarcontrol to assume it would be one of the slower Druids. But I mean, as we see there, it was just over before it began. And
now with a Warlock being left for Toastmonster as well, Boarcontrol should be able to assume after what he's just seen that this should be a relatively aggressive Warlock deck as well. So his mulligan should be a little bit more simple than the mulligan we've just seen previously. Whether he'll stick with Druid, that remains to be seen. Yes, he will. And now I think we'll see a very different phase of which cards he's going to throw away here.
And this is the mad thing for Boarcontrol. Once again, he gets what would be an insanely good hand against a slower deck. He's got load of ramp. Okay, this is an insane hand now. He's got the ability to get Malfurion the Pestilent on like turn 4, I think, or something silly like that. At which point, you know, hopefully he can just start denying the Fledgling. He could even go Nourish into Wrath to kill off the Fledgling. Toastmonster isn't happy about this one, but to be honest, I think he can it given the starts he's had.
Is he holding that mask in place the whole time? I am so impressed if he manages the whole series. I thought he'd tied it round. I thought this was something he designed previous day, but no, on the whim.
Holding the mask there.
What commitment that is.
You'll love to see that.
You'll love to see that if you're a Hearthstone fan. If you're a Disguised Toast fan, you'll love to see that.
You do indeed. Wow, okay, the pickup of Ultimate Infestation as well. This is a bit more like it. Toastmonster doesn't even know what he's in for now.
I love that he puts his thumb down to everything he doesn't like as well. Just to let us know that he's unhappy because we can't see his actual face. He's like, boo.
Monsty, hey.
This is like a proper dramatic play now. Pantomime is the word I was looking for, rather than dramatic play. But it was a good, considering I couldn't think of pantomime, dramatic play is a good alternative, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good, like when Juliet was like, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo? He's behind you."
Hate it when that happens. Every time I see Romeo and Juliet, I always shout it. I get thrown out. I don't know why. So Boarcontrol, as you quite rightly said, has the option now to play Malfurion the Pestilent on what, turn 5? And he has
He's going
Mark
second,
Lotus
so turn 4.
well. Turn 4.
Yeah, Mark of the Lotus in addition. Absolutely absurd. There's a good chance Mind Control Tech will go off on the following turn. I guess that's because you're killing something off, maybe not, because 5 drops is usually 1 minion. But even then, basically starting health total, going into Ultimate Infestation, it's going to be difficult for the Druid to lose this one. But, I mean, I guess having said that, it's a pretty respectable board here for the Zoo, and it is a turn until the Ultimate Infestation can come down.
Now, one thing that we've not seen in these Zoo decks is Keleseth. We haven't seen it at all.
Yep.
Whereas the list that I've seen in the past couple of days still have been running Keleseth.
Yep.
The list that we saw on Trinity Series today and yesterday, I believe, no, yeah, definitely today had Keleseth.
Yep. I would be very surprised if Keleseth has been cut out of the deck here. I mean, in Rogue, it makes a little bit more sense because you have Eviscerate, which is one of the best cards in Hearthstone. And you can obviously run Galactic Crawler, but in the Zoo, you know, what are you looking to fit in there? Darkshire Librarian for more discard synergy, maybe Dire Wolf. It's not quite as ridiculous, so Keleseth definitely feels like the way to go in Zoo.
He's just not shown up to the party.
Very true. Yep.
We've not seen him at all today, and he is such an impact card. But speaking of impact, Boarcontrol has taken control of the board and will have an Ultimate Infestation to follow up. So finally, it looks like he's going to be in good nick with this Druid. And it's about time after going 2 games down.
If you were going to choose a hand, though, for Toastmonster, obviously Patches in hand is pretty dreadful, but outside of that, it's some of the best cards that you could have going forward. Bone Marrow on the following turn, if you can have something to stick about, which doesn't, unfortunately, look like it's going to happen, so maybe it's not actually that good.
This was my concern. I was thinking thumbs down as well.
I was expecting a thumb.
Yeah, you were expecting a thumb?
A jolly good thumbing.
Please, no. As now Boarcontrol has just gathered so much momentum here with his Druid.
And speed.
And
a good amount of violence as well, actually.
Yeah, I think it's all there. Come. Bone Marrow is just going to have to be played bare and dry as a 5/5. And now, this is the thing for Toastmonster. How do you get back into a game? I guess your Blood Reaver Golden is your only way of getting back into this game, but you're going to be too far behind in 3 more turns.
Yeah, I mean, even on this turn, you're too far behind. It's going to be, what, a Doomguard, a Flame Imp, a Despicable Dreadlord, Malkazar's Imp. There's some respectable, there's a decent board coming down, but like you said, it's simply not going to be enough.
No, but Toastmonster is going to continue playing this one out because he does have the pretty good turn 8 of Patches into Bone Mare. But this should be now a comfortable victory for Boarcontrol, who should be putting 1 on the board finally with his J Druid. Finally. Boarcontrol has come back to the ESL Premiership.
Well, he never really left. He was still 2-0 in series. Not looking great this time, but I think now that he's all but certainly got his Jade Druid out of the way, he's looking to be in a better spot because the Priest, I think, as long as it's not Dragon Priest, has got a really good, got a decent shot against the Zoo because Kazakus Priest and Big Priest both have a really good amount of removal in the early game, and the Murloc Paladin, it can still do Murloc Paladin things. Nothing has changed since the Ongoro days, apart from, I guess, obviously the nerf to War Leader, but that doesn't change it too much. If you get Valfin into Rockball, into War Leader, into Megasaur, you are winning that game.
Winning is always a good thing, as Boarcontrol is also going to do in this game right about now. And the thing for Toastmonster, you said that he wants to be going up against a Dragon Priest. Yep. We have only seen Dragon Priests so far. Whether we'll see that from Boarcontrol, that will remain to be seen, as the Mark of the Lotus was able to provide enough damage for the man to get back into this series. Now for Toastmonster, I guess we were talking about Keleseth and we're talking about this Warlock. He does have 2 more games to get that potential turn 2 Keleseth, which can just outright win a game. let's be fair. I mean, I know it's different in Rogue when you can bounce it back and play it again, but in Warlock, just having that constant threat of big, impactful minions turn after turn is a possibility of happening.
I mean, we know Warlock can do that just with Trinity series over the last couple of days. Obviously, G2 going 6-0 was with a control Warlock, but with the Keleseth variant we saw from Odd Planet today, you can just get a whole bunch of Keleseths early on and it will probably win you the game. But from Boarcontrol's side as well, if you're getting Kazakus, Raza and Anduin on curve, you're probably winning as the Kazakus Priest, and as the Paladin, perfect Murloc curve, you're probably winning that game.
So we're thinking Boarcontrol might be in this after all. He might be fairly confident with his chances here. It was all looking a little bit doom and gloom after going 2-0 down, especially after the bad mulligan, where he was expecting maybe a Jade Druid, but another thumbs down from Toastmonster, who is still holding the mask to his face. Still holding it. Ah, what a man. Like, apparently, even when he's off camera, even when we're going into the break, or even when we're going into us talking, he's still holding it there. not revealing who's playing the game.
His girlfriend comes in crying, like, we can't keep doing this, Toast. Please, just lose the mask.
No.
Thumbs down, thumbs down.
Not until after the series is finished.
Quiet human person.
Not until I make live finals.
I've got to say, Toastmonster would be the world's worst Roman emperor, wouldn't he? If you were like a gladiator for him, you'd be like, oh god, it's Emperor Toastimus Monstrous again.
He's given 100% thumbs down in the past 15 years.
I've killed 17 bears, for God's sakes. What more do you want?
Well, hopefully some thumbs up for Boarcontrol as he tries to worm his way back into this series now. And it's looking pretty good, actually, for a start for him in comparison to Toastmonster's mulligan, where he has got, well, let's be honest, nada.
Nada, nada, nada. Not a damn thing. Here comes the Rallying Blade for a swing. Yeah.
That's actually really annoying, especially because you've got your Dread Corsair there that can be played for very cheap the following turn after playing Rallying Blade. So maybe you might even consider a Murloc War Leader here, Derek?
I think I like Murloc War Leader. You're basically only afraid of Soulfire to kill it off here, and if they are going for Soulfire, that's not even that bad. As a worst case scenario, like, it's not that terrible. The patches can come down here, obviously, to clear off one of the Murlocs, but you're still in a decent spot. You've got the Rallying Blade to follow up. You're still ahead here, which, given you didn't have that many Murlocs at all in your starting hand, is a really good place in which to find yourself for Boarcontrol.
Definitely. I mean, just staying ahead on the board against Zoo is always really important. As is Toastmonster going to switch hands? No, he can't. He has to use his mouse with his right hand. I thought he was going to switch hands, for which was holding the mouse for a second.
Now he's committing.
He's definitely committing. He's committing to the whole series by the looks of it, which I'm very impressed by. Now for Boarcontrol, you can play a very cheap Dread Corsair if you would like. But Blessing of Kings is also pretty tempting because you can clear the board.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what is going to happen.
Not even a question here. I think you're just so far ahead on board. Now even Soulfire can't kill this off. It would have to be Doomguard, which then kills it off in its own right. And then you've still got follow-up with something like Rallying Blade, Dread Corsair. Toastmonster thinks it's worth it. Discards, that's like, well, I guess it was 2 cards in the War Leader there. But that's a fantastic trade for Boarcontrol, no matter what.
Yeah, now Boarcontrol is just going to try and solidify the board once again. Which I guess you're just going to go Hydrologist into Hero Power, into maybe Patches as well. Just put some stuff on the board. Then you've got a Secret to follow up next turn.
I think I can see that you'd want to be playing 2 things here.
Yeah, I don't like the Rallying Blade. Considering the following turn, you want basically you want as much on the board so you can at least put Spike Ridge Steed onto something, and then you know at some point you've got Rallying Blade into a 1-mana Corsair, which is going to be important.
I think because of that, I like you equip the blade, you go Corsair, Patches, and then if Doomguard comes down, you can still stick the Steed on the Patches, and if Despicable Dreadlord comes down, you can still stick the Steed on the Dread Corsair. You've got pretty much against every inevitability, apart from Coil into Doomguard, you've got something on the board able to stick the Steed on, and that is the line he's going to go for. I think this gives you the highest chance of getting that Steed down on the following turn.
There we have it. One of those minions should survive, unless something like a Mortal Coil were to survive, but... Perfect timing. That actually warranted a thumbs up, I'd like to point out. That's the first thumbs up we've seen, I believe.
Yeah, pretty good. Saronite Chain Gangs. Doesn't have to go on for long at all. Both just gone from the hand before they're even played.
Which isn't too bad to get rid of, really, because they're pretty clunky. I'm surprised by the amount of usage they get. Yeah. If I'm honest, but yeah, well, Hearthstone is a funny world. It's a Keleseth card, isn't it? It's for hoping you get the buff from it in your hand, and even outside of that, it's still, in a rough way of looking at it, 4/6 of stats for 4 mana, which is very respectable. It reminds me of Spirit Wolves from the Shaman, but without the overload, and of course it's extra mana as well. But yeah, Spirit Wolves was a fantastic card. Wow, so now just kind of turning around the Toastmonster. The onus is now on him to stick something on board so that he has the ability to get a buff on it in the Bone Mare this time rather than the Steed. Oh, and the Blessing of Kings will stop that from happening, Darok. It can indeed. Can, and I think probably will. Usually going in... So you can still fit in Hydrologist and a Secret at the same time, probably going for... I don't know. Redemption, Getaway Kodo, probably just one of the value ones, because you can't really go for Repentance now that you've seen both Doom Guards. Doesn't want to go with the killing off here, though. Interesting. I guess the thing is, you know, your opponent's 2 cards in hand, they're just top-decked cards. These have not been around for a very long time at all, so they could be basically anything at this point. Yep. Ooh, that's horrible. You look at it and you think, is this worth it? Because you can Bone Mare, you can then Soulfire the 5/4, and then you can kill off the Scalebane as well, and you have the board. So this is definitely worth considering for Toastmonster, but you're throwing away one of the biggest cards that you've got in terms of late game. And we've seen Paladins and how much late game they have. This is such a tough choice. You can pull so far ahead on the board if you just throw down the Soulfire, but you're getting back 2 Doom Guards, you're getting a Malkazar's Imp, you're getting such a whole load of stuff if you save the Blood Reaver Gul'dan. I think given how good a board of minions you're going to be getting off of it, it's worth saving it. You're still going to be in a good spot on the board. This is a toughie. This is absolutely going to dictate the rest of the game. This is probably the most important Toastmonster will make this entire series. So Toastmonster is going to be worrying what punishes him if he does do it, or what can go against him. The Blessing of Kings does hurt a little bit, but not too bad. I think you're completely right, Darok, and it looks like Toastmonster has agreed with you as well. The value from Blood Reaver Gul'dan is going to be massive, and Toastmonster, just a little thumbs down, just to let us know. Wasn't really happy with the decision. A little bit miffed. Yeah, a little bit like, yeah, I saw the good play ahead of me, but I went against it, just because, you know, Gul'dan's pretty good. Thumbs down. Hashtag thumbs down. Okay, Dan. Sorry, Bob. So, yeah, get it right. I mean, Redemption's obviously the higher tempo play, Getaway Kodo the higher value play. If you're expecting Blood Reaver Gul'dan, I'm not even sure if you'd rather have tempo or value, because maybe, you know, you might, my first instinct was, okay, you're going to need all the value you can get if that's going to be coming down. But maybe you need to think, I need to be so far ahead on the board when that does come down. So I need to go for the Redemption, because there's no way I'm winning the value game. But maybe Boarcontrol has built his deck to be really top-heavy, so he thinks he could win the value game. This is so much to consider here. Is there any way that Boarcontrol got that read, potentially from the length of what it took for Toastmonster to take that, make that decision of what might be in the hand? I think he actually very possibly could. Because you're almost definitely playing Bone Mare on that turn, aren't you? Yeah. And any other 1-mana minion you'd probably throw down as well. And Boarcontrol pushing all this damage to face. Now just 2 damage needed to actually win the game from Toastmonster, but it's not there. Got to get rid of it this turn. You have to play the Dreadlord and go for the Soulfire. Actually, you don't have to. You could just... You have to play the Soulfire this turn, basically. You could just take the 50-50, though, to not get rid of the Blood Reaver Gul'dan. And, oh, man, it has not worked out not discarding the Blood Reaver Gul'dan on the previous turn. He had to do it anyway on the following turn, and he's way further behind on board. He could have much more effectively solidified his board control. And now it's 1 damage off lethal for Boarcontrol. Oh, that's so painful for Toastmonster. I mean, we were talking, he was debating in his head, we could see it behind the mask, kind of. What a difficult decision that was for him. And now it's basically over. Looks like it's going to be game over, because there's no way that he can deal 7 damage in just one turn.
Okay, so it is a board clear. Well, it is a way, sorry, to stop him from being killed here. Given that it can be only the Finger left alive, and actually no way to kill off a minion here. And the Hydrologist also, this somehow is not over, but eye for an eye locks out the game. Is there any healing?
Unless there's any healing or any way that Toastmonster can deal 11 damage at once. But I don't think
right,
that can
yeah,
happen.
okay. You can't build up the Vicious Fledgling without attacking face.
The only way it could happen would be from a Scalebane being able to put its damage onto a minion several times, and you constantly just win the board back. But
there it is.
There is game number 4 going in the hands, the probably sweaty hands of Boarcontrol by this point.
Not cold hands.
Not cold hands. Maybe sweaty hands for Toastmonster as well after he's been holding that that mask up for so long. I don't know what to call it. I don't know whether to call it a face, call it a piece of toast, bread, but it's just a mask, isn't it, really? What
a job to have where you don't know what to call a thing, a face, a mask, or a piece of bloomin' toast.
Whilst dressed as Bob. I love my job. And
Shout out to my ancestors who built churches.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that reference, but...
Oh, just they did something with their lives.
Why are we looking at me now? Is it because I didn't get the reference? Because I'm Bob. Okay, game number 5 is quite rightly going to be the best way to end this series. Warlock versus Priest, Toastmonster versus Boarcontrol. Winner goes to live finals because they will be at that lovely 3-0. Unfortunately, it would mean we wouldn't see them for the rest of the Premiership group stages. Yep. But I think they will be more than happy to kick back, put their feet up, and watch everyone else whilst they qualify.
I think they most certainly would. I don't really know what to be expecting here. For Boarcontrol, you know, we haven't seen the Priest yet. I'm expecting Kazakus Priest. Jesus. He's going for Dragon Priest as Toastmonster, in true Weeping Angel fashion, scares me half to death and makes me want to hide behind the sofa and cry.
Why have we zoomed in on his face even more? Is that just him?
It's because you blinked, you dumber.
Sorry.
I told you.
I managed a whole series without blinking. That's what this makeup does to you. It just whacks your eyes open. You can't close them. They're so heavy. So Dragon Priest it is then, and this is the deck that you said Toastmonster would want to have been facing. Yeah. Correct? Yeah, well.
I'm pretty sure this is better for Toastmonster than if it was the Kazakus Priest. Because, okay, for the Dragon Priest, there's definitely the potential for Radiant Elemental, Power Word Shield, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, all that good stuff to come down right away for Boarcontrol, as we saw in one of the previous series against a Jade Druid. But that has to come down super, super quickly, or you are just going to be falling behind on board, and all of a sudden they're going to be value trading your Tar Creeper, your Radiant Elemental. But here's the exact start I was talking about. This is what you need against the Zoo. This is fantastic.
Yeah, Radiant Elemental into Power Word Shield is massive here for Boarcontrol. That won't be the first time we've seen Radiant Elemental into Power Word Shield, and the last time we saw it being followed up with crazy things, with the Divine Spirits, with the Inner Fires, making, what was it, a 24-24 Radiant Elemental to win the game in the end. So Toastmonster will want to keep on top of this board and not allow that to happen. Maybe the Soulfire is going to come in handy. Might end up throwing away that Blood Breather Golden again.
So here for Boarcontrol, he is afraid of Inner Fire. Oh, he was afraid of Soulfire and maybe Blood Fury Potion. But with the second Power Word Shield being picked up, the single best card he could get off the top, he can probably pretty safely go for the Inner Fire here. There's pretty much nothing that punishes him.
I guess... Oh, there's Kaliseth finally showing up to the party. I guess there's no point
making
it a 7-7 this turn.
Because your opponent's not going to be attacking him with a Void Walker.
Exactly,
anyway.
And you can make it a 7-7 next turn. And if there is something that can somehow remove it, then you say, all right, you've removed it. I'll save this Inner Fire later for the Wombo combo.
And I think this is a pretty easy turn. I'm looking at Inner Fire Tar Creeper.
Oh, he's finally given in.
The disguise is gone. His cover's blown.
Reddit threads all over the place. We know who he is.
The jig's up. Boarcontrol. Oh, sorry. Disguised Toast is actually Toastmonster all along. We're cutting off his webcam.
We were going to, yeah, we were going to say, no, it's not allowed now. He's not wearing it. But
we just don't really like your face.
Kudos to Toastmonster for lasting so long with the mask. But maybe now he's come to the realization that potentially this series is coming to the end. He feels like he has to get a little bit serious.
This is just so good for Boarcontrol. He's got perfect follow-up with Priest of the Feast, Scalebane, so he doesn't even need the removal spells like Potion of Badness, Shadow-Word Horror, or Shadow-Word Pain, sorry, if that's in the deck, or more importantly, Dragonfire Potion. He can just value trade for the rest of the game, and as soon as Divine Spirit comes in, this Radiant Elemental will never be dying.
Ever.
Ever.
Even if there's a fire.
A fire?
Fire. Did my West Country accent come out a little bit there, did it?
A little bit.
Whoops. And yeah, I think the realization is starting to sink in now for Toastmonster. Things were looking so good, Darrock. He was 2-0 up. He was looking like he was coasting into the live finals of the ESL Premiership. But now...
nothing works out quite right.
Yeah. Now it's awkward. Now you have to sacrifice a Soulfire, even if you just want to clear the Tar Creeper of all things.
And so, because it's a Tar Creeper and it's much weaker on your opponent's turn, I definitely like leaving it up. And we're just going to see continuation of board development here for Boarcontrol. Probably Priest of the Feast, because the 3 attack will probably get the job done. And the Twilight Drake, I mean, it might not get more powerful, but it's going to be staying at a 4-4 for the foreseeable future, because Boarcontrol is probably just going to be playing on curve 1 minion a turn.
Yeah. Really, for Boarcontrol, he's in... well, he's definitely in the driving seat right now. He's so far in the driving seat, he's kicked back. He's on cruise control at this point. And he can do whatever he likes, really, but he doesn't want to throw it away.
Yeah.
So he's trying to think... he's probably not thinking, how do I win this game? He's probably thinking at this point, how do I lose this game? What is the worst play that I could make?
And so I think what he's going to be thinking about is, obviously you want to trade into the Vicious Fledgling here, but even if you attack in and heal up, this Radiant Elemental is still dying to Soulfire. And so because of that, okay, he's going to go for it anyway. So if you are going to attack in, I definitely like attacking in, but not healing up. Because either way you're dying to the Radiant Elemental is dying to Soulfire, and that's basically the only way it dies. So I think if you are going to be killing off the Fledgling, which is probably the right play, this is the way to go about it. So very nicely maneuvered from Boarcontrol.
And Toastmonster, of course, drawing another card to try and make it less likely that probably the Blood Reaver disappears. You don't really want to get rid of that at this point. But there it goes anyway for the second game running. I guess, actually, I mean, you want cards to be playing here and now to contest the board. That late game option may not even come into question.
I think you're either going to be way ahead on board at that, like throughout the game, so that your opponent can't go for Divine Spirit and Inner Fire stuff, or you're going to be dead because they will be ahead on board, so they will be able to go for Divine Spirit, Inner Fire.
Did you just say I'm going to be dead?
Toastmonster's going to be dead.
Okay, alright, you scared me for a little bit.
Don't worry, Bob. We don't know how...
I'm okay. I'm okay, right?
You're okay? Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Of course.
Thanks.
Everyone loves Bob.
Justice for Bob. So now you can plop another dragon onto the board and you can just trade, leave a 5-1 here, and then you've got the follow-up next turn of the Dragonfire Potion if you would like. Alternatively, you can go for what Boarcontrol's thinking, and actually he just wants to draw a couple more cards. He's not seeing having... hello, Lyra.
Yeah, these 2 turns were about even, I would say. Obviously, you're setting up for a better Dragonfire Potion if you go with the dragons, but because you can just set up the apprentice, the Cleric now, there's a good chance you can actually just draw with it again on the following turn. So I kind of like going for that here, because now on the next turn you can go heal Twilight Drake, something like that.
And I mean, all this time I was saying Toastmonster feels this series slipping away from him. He has managed to wriggle his way back in, ever so slightly.
Yeah.
He
it's
still
a little
has...
rig.
Yeah, it's like a tiny little worm just bursting through a tiny bit of dirt. But you know that there is a potential child to come and stomp on you any second now.
So that's how we're describing Toastmonster's play, like a snivelling little worm wriggling through dirt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
The fact that nothing has survived, so he can't play the Bone Mare onto anything, is pretty detrimental here. So he may just have to go Crystal Weaver and Soulfire just to try and keep this competitive.
So correctly tapping first there, both to give him a lower chance of discarding Bone Mare, and he actually got a better option. Obviously, you nearly always draw first in Hearthstone. Oh, now with Divine Spirit, do you just go off with Lyra now?
I think you just Dragonfire Potion this, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah. Your dragon survives. I think you clear the board and then you go face. Oh, obviously, because there's nothing else to go. Because next turn, you can go off with Lyra if you want.
How do you lose if you go for that? What's the downside of just using the Dragonfire potion there?
I mean, your opponent building up a board somehow, but you've seen Blood Reaver Gul'dan disappear.
Yeah.
Your main worries are the likes of Bone Mare. Doom Guards can be pretty annoying as well, I guess. Fair. But even Doom Guards can't be dealt with by Dragonfire Potion. And Bone Mare number 2 is now drawn from Toastmonster. And this might be the point where you go off of Lyra just to see if you can find maybe an Inner Fire, just to win the game. Of course, if you Lyra and then Divine Spirit onto your Scalebane, you could just search for one first. Doesn't come off the top, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, you can go for Lyra here, but I mean, you don't even really need to. Yeah, just go for Scalebane, send everything to face.
Yeah,
like, you'll never die. Yeah.
A Divine Spirit as well, just to make sure something survives, as slowly but surely Boarcontrol has got back into this series. He started at 2-0 down with his Jade Druid. It was looking like he was down and out. His head was in his hands. But now he is praying to the gods. There is nothing to answer this 8-14. And unfortunately for Toastmonster, there is not.
I don't think there's anything in the deck. I mean, it could be, Bone Mare attack into the weaker of the 2 Scalebanes, and then that's still not going to save you.
Still dead.
Still dead.
Unfortunately for Toastmonster.
Going to have to tap, but I would say for Boarcontrol, this is well-deserved. You know, he went for the strategy of bringing Dragon Priest, which it turns out it wasn't very good at all against Toastmonster, because a lot of the decks that Toastmonster were bringing in his very aggressive lineup have a really nice matchup against the Dragon Priest, because the Dragon Priest doesn't run enough spells to react to what the aggressive decks are doing in the early game, so that they can get Shadow Visions into exactly what they want almost every time. But it worked out for Boarcontrol. He went for the win condition of getting Radiant Elemental, Power Word, Shield, all that kind of stuff. He got it, and he won because of that.
And he won, and he qualifies for the live finals as well, going 3-0 here in the group stages, or as it were, whatever you want to call it. It's the interesting situation